Genesis 1 verse 5. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. This act of naming is significant in the biblical narrative. In the ancient Near East, to name something was to define its nature, purpose, and identity. By naming the light day and the darkness night, God is not only creating these periods but also establishing a cycle of time and giving them structure. This act of naming highlights God's authority over creation, as he assigns meaning and order to what he has created. The creation of day and night introduces the idea of time into the world. Before this point, there was no differentiation of time. The alternation between light and darkness establishes the first basic rhythm of life, day and night. This cycle will become essential for the functioning of the created world, laying the groundwork for the eventual creation of life that will operate within this system. The theological importance of naming. In biblical tradition, naming something or someone often signifies sovereignty or dominion. Later in Genesis, Adam will be given the task of naming the animals, Genesis 2 verse 19, which signifies his stewardship over them. Here, God names day and night, symbolizing his ultimate dominion over time in the universe. This also shows that everything created has a purpose and place within God's order, and nothing is random or without meaning. And there was evening and there was morning, the first day. The phrase evening and morning defines the completion of a day, even though the sun and moon, which typically mark time, have not yet been created. They are created on the fourth day. This suggests that God's concept of time is not dependent on the sun or any external factors. Rather, time is a construct of God's design. The cycle of evening and morning also reflects the orderly progression of time, with each day being distinct, deliberate, and moving creation toward completion. The phrase evening and morning starts with evening, reflecting the Jewish tradition that the day begins at sundown. This daily cycle of darkness followed by light also has a symbolic resonance, where darkness, chaos, is followed by light, order, reinforcing the theme of God bringing structure and life out of the formless void. The declaration of the first day introduces the framework of 6 days of creation followed by the Sabbath, rest, on the 7th day. Each day in the creation narrative builds upon the previous one, with God's creative acts becoming progressively more complex. The first day marks the foundational step of creating light and darkness, upon which the rest of the creation process will depend. Theological debates have arisen over whether these days are literal 24-hour periods or symbolic epochs of time. Some traditions interpret them as literal days, reflecting a young earth creationist view. Others, influenced by scientific understandings of the age of the universe, interpret these days as symbolic periods of time, each representing an era of creation. In either case, the first day serves to introduce the notion that time itself is a creation of God, who stands outside of it and governs its flow. The structure of evening and morning can also carry symbolic meaning. The movement from evening, darkness, to morning, light, mirrors the progression of creation itself, where God moves the cosmos from chaos to order, from darkness to light. This daily rhythm reflects the overarching narrative of Scripture, where God's work often involves moving from a state of difficulty or trial, darkness, to resolution or restoration, light. Spiritually, this rhythm speaks to human life as well. Life often involves periods of darkness or confusion, but God's plan moves toward light and clarity. The pattern of evening and morning reminds us that God's redemptive work is ongoing, with each new day bringing the potential for fresh light and understanding. Genesis 1 verse 5 marks the conclusion of the first day of creation. God names the light, day, and the darkness, night, establishing the first rhythm of time, separating light from darkness in both a physical and symbolic sense. This verse highlights God's sovereignty, as he names and orders creation according to his purpose. The cycle of evening and morning introduces time into the created world, marking the beginning of a structured, ordered universe. The first day lays the foundation for the rest of the creative acts, as God moves step by step from chaos to order.